Now that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is out in theaters, a lot of fans around the world are very interested about the future of the Star Wars franchise and what could have been before the reshoots and the rewrites of this movie by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and even Kathleen Kennedy. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie had tons of revelations, everything ranging from, spoilers by the way, from Rey's, father being the son of the Emperor to Kylo Ren and Rey being a dyad in the Force, and even Palpatine surviving the fall of the second Death Star, somehow, some way that will be explained in the official novelization. Now, the thing that's really exciting about Episode 9, though, is that they are going to build on top of the movie more so in other canon lore, which should have really been explained in the actual movie. Now, I've gone over my feelings about this film. There's a lot of scenes that I love and hate in this movie, without a doubt. But when we look at Episode 9, when we examine this movie, there is a lot that was lost during the reshoots and the rewrites of The Rise of Skywalker. In fact, the original cut of this movie was 4 hours and 20-something minutes long. Similar in a sense to what Rian Johnson said about The Last Jedi, of how it was 3 hours and 30 minutes long before it was cut down to 2 hours and change. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that Snoke is by far one of the most mysterious characters that we got a big answer to in The Rise of Skywalker, and both Disney and Lucasfilm went through many changes and adjustments for the film during the months of August, September, and October, and during those reshoots and rewrites of the movie in order to create a different tone for the film and to cater more so to the general audience. It said that many scenes were deleted in the process during the production of the film for these reshoots by Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams, and that one of the big scenes had to do with a visual representation of how Snoke was created when Palpatine was talking to Kylo Ren inside of the world of exegol. It's noted that one of the scenes that were deleted went over a scene that would show Snoke growing inside of a cloning chamber by the relics. The relics are short, 4-foot-tall creatures who use DNA of species from around the entire unknown regions in the galaxy that hold dark side energy and worked for Palpatine/Darth Sidious and his new empire hidden on Exegol. Originally, Kylo and Palpatine were going to have an extended conversation about the dark side and creating life, and that Palpatine was even going to mention his master's name, Darth Plagueis. Now, the flashback was going to show Palpatine walking over to one of the Snoke Clones and hovering his hands over the body on a table to where a close-up of Snoke's eyes would be closed, would be seen where they suddenly open as it cuts to black where the conversation between Kylo and Palpatine continued, where he unveils to Kylo that he was controlling Snoke the entire time, and that the First Order was his creation to distract the galaxy from the new Empire that was actually being developed on Exegol. Now, though the Snoke flashback scene was said to be very brief, it was explained to be visually stunning and to visually show how Snoke was created by Sidious, but they wanted to make it more simple by explaining it in one simple shot of just showing a bunch of Snoke clones in chambers to save screen time. So, this is somewhat reflecting on what Marianne Brandon, the editor of The Rise of Skywalker, said about the Snoke clones, is that they wanted to explain all of it eventually in just one shot where the audience can just say, ah, I get that. And it worked. I will admit it worked. We get that Snoke is just a clone or is, the original version of those clones, whatever have you. But when we look at everything related to it in that sense, where originally they were going to really tap into one of the flashbacks of Snoke, showing us the creation of Snoke by Palpatine. Now, Palpatine obviously was going to drop a line of dialogue where in that line of dialogue he would talk a little bit more about Darth Plagueis and his ability to create life. There was going to be another line taken from Revenge of the Sith that would have another chance to be heard in The Rise of Skywalker, similar to how they did the line of dialogue where he says the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. They were going to also have a line of dialogue that was about Darth Plagueis and creating life, and how he discovered the way to eternal life and stuff around those lines. So everything about Snoke, what I like about the Snoke clones is, yes, it does answer everything very quick, but at the same exact time, it does indeed show us that they were very desperate to fix Rian Johnson's mess. There's no doubt about that, because J.J. Abrams brought Palpatine back last minute. It was never in the works since 2014, as Kathleen Kennedy suggested. This was a last-minute decision to bring back Emperor Palpatine because they had no villain. In fact, I don't know if you guys heard, but Jack Thorne, one of the other writers that stepped in after Colin Trevorrow shortly, was developing a villain called Soloey or something like that. It was going to be like a female dark side user. That was completely cancelled and put to the wayside, and they stuck around with Palpatine when J.J. Abrams came on board. Honestly, it would have been way better than, you know, some random villain just popping up at last minute that we don't know. You know, they could have just done something more with Snoke. Heck, if they really wanted to, they could have just had another Snoke come into play here, where he's a clone. They could have just done something like that to continue his legacy. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.